5.
5 exit points. Very good. Two of the exit points, exit sounds. And then the other 3 exit letters. What are the 2 exit points that exit sounds and not letters? Not letters specifically, shall I say?
The oral cavity
The oral cavity and
and is that me with the echo?
I don't hear it.
Oh, hold on. Oral cavity is
And the nasal cavity.
Oral cavity and nasal cavity. What exits from the oral cavity?
the oral cavity is the aleph. In the aleph, I, the yeah, and the wow.
Not necessarily aleph, yeah, wow, but it's the long vowels.
Long vowels.
Right?
Okay.
It's the long vowels that exit
Long
from there,
vowels.
right? A, E, U, right? Long vowels exit from the oral cavity. And what exits from the nasal cavity?
The gunna.
Right? The hunna sound, right? The nasalization sound exits from the nasal cavity. Very good. We have 6 letters in the throat. Who can tell me what our 6 throat letters are?
Ka, Ain at the top of the throat. And not
What
that
was the first letter?
Ha.
Ha, right?
Ha.
Not that, right? Ha, ha.
Yes. And then ha, Ain,
Ha.
Ain, and ha, ha. And Hamza.
You had it right the first time.
And Hamza. And Hamza.
And Hamza. Very good. All right, so she went down, right, starting from the top, the letter ha, and then rain, ha, and then ain, and then ha, and then Hamza, right?
Right.
And here it's important to make a distinction between ha, that's at the middle of the throat, ha, he, who, and then ha, he, who, right?
Yes.
Ha, he, who versus ha, he, who.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What exits from the lips?
Mean, bad,
Mean,
bad, fat, and wow.
Bad and wow. Just 4 letters, right?
Yes.
Mean, bad, fat, wow. Mean, bad, fat, wow. 3 of them are from the dry part of the lips. 1 of them, the fat, is from the wet part of the lip, meaning the bottom teeth, the 2 front teeth, the bottom of the 2 front teeth at the top here are pressing into the wet part of the lip at the bottom. Fat, feed, food, right? Very good. And then the tongue exits the most letters, right? The tongue exits the most letters. It's split up into 4 subcategories. What are those subcategories? Who knows? What are the different parts of the tongue?
No, you got the back of the
The
tongue,
back of the tongue,
the tip of the tongue,
the tip of the tongue,
the middle of the tongue,
the
and the
middle
side.
of the tongue, and the side of the tongue. Excellent, right? So this is all, look at how much of your tongue you're using, all different parts of your tongue at different times. You use the back of the tongue, use the middle of the tongue, sides of the tongue, and the tip of the tongue. These are not just for thought. You actually should be using these parts of your tongue. You can't just say the letter. You have to ask yourself, am I actually using the part of the tongue that I should use in order to articulate the letter? Is it touching whatever other organ of speech that I need to touch in order to give the sound that is necessary? All right, what comes from the back of the tongue?
Cough and calf.
Excellent. Off and calf. Off and calf exits from the back of the tongue. What exits from the sides of the tongue?
Lamb and dog.
Lamb and dog, right? Dog is the very back sides of the tongue.
Dog.
You should be touching
Dog.
your molars, the very back molars, right? So if you made a clicking sound like that, right? Like you call it, when you click on all the way back here, right? Using your tongue, you touch it all the way back here. That's how far back you should be for dog, right? You should be back here, touching back here, up where the teeth meet at the top. Dog. right?
Drew.
Dog.
Right? All the way
Okay,
back
good.
here. You got to get back there. Il, law, boy,
Dog.
al,
Dog.
Al. 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 Dog. Dog.
Then the lamb are the sides of the tongue up at the front, and you're going to be touching here the canine and the premolar, which is behind the canine. You're going to be spreading your tongue, and you're going to be right there where the teeth and gums meet, pressing out like this, touching the canine and pre-canine. Al,
Al.
il,
Al.
ul. Don't hold it though. Just say
Al.
al. Don't go
Al.
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 Right? Just say al.
Al.
Il,
Il.
il,
Il.
ul.
Ul.
And
Al.
you should hear that much lamb.
Al.
You should hear it. Fal. Right?
Fal.
Qal.
Call.
Right? Qul.
Kul.
You're going to hear it. Right?
Li.
All right. Then what comes from the middle of the tongue? Middle of the tongue, 3 letters.
Sheen. Yeah. Gosh. Jean.
And Share.
Sheen.
Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sheen. Jean.
Gene.
And
Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, right? Yeah, sheen and gene. The tongue is constricted back, right? On these 3 letters.
Right.
Then the tip of the tongue exits the most letters, but it also splits up into another 4 subcategories, right? So we've already split up the tongue into 4, but the tip of the tongue itself, because not that you're not using the tip, you're going to use the tip on all of these, but then the tip is going to touch different parts of the mouth, and that's what makes the distinction. Yes, you're utilizing the tip on all of these, but the tip is not going to touch in the same spot every single time. It's going to be in 4 different spots. What are the different areas that the tip of the tongue will touch in order to produce the remaining letters? Who knows what those 4 subcategories are? All right. Tip of the tongue is going to be down here.
No, one of them is touching the teeth. Touching the teeth and the gums.
At the bottom.
Right?
And
At
the
the
lower
bottom,
inside.
right where the teeth and gums meet at the bottom, down there. That's where we're going to get seen, zat, and sawed. Zat, zat, saw. Zat, zat, saw. Right? Then the tip of the tongue is going to come up and it's going to touch the bottom of the 2 front teeth.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to get that, that, and law. That, that, and law. Then the tip of the tongue is going to come up and it's going to touch where the teeth and gums meet of the upper 2 front teeth, right? Right there. And that's where we're going to get noon and raw. Noon and raw. And then the last category is where the tip of the tongue is just going to be on the upper palate, right behind the teeth, though. Not all the way back. Tip of the tongue right behind the teeth, but not touching any of the teeth, just the upper palate, just the gums. And that's where we're going to get dat, and thaw.
Dat, and thaw.
Dat, and thaw.
Dat, and thaw.
All right. That's all the extra points. Characteristics. There are a couple of characteristics that we want to keep mindful of. One of those sets of characteristics is the idea of heaviness and lightness. Istirla or istifal. The heavy letters versus the light letters, meaning letters that the back of the tongue go up versus letters that the back of the tongue is down.
I don't know.
What are our 7 heavy letters? 7 heavy letters. Who knows?
Oh my God, thing. Saw, dot, ta, da, raw. Am I missing 2?
Care and cough.
Cough, yes.
Care and cough.
And ha.
Look at it. Saw, dog.
Not cat. Don't say cat.
Ha.
No, it's cough.
Caw.
Cough. Cough. And cat.
Out of the throat. And then cough, the back of the tongue. I think she already said that one. What's the other one that's at the top of the throat? What's the other letter at the top of the throat?
Rain.
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 So remember, the other three, once you get saw, dog, tall, dog, right, we can kind of remember those. Those are the teardrop letters.
Saw,
They're so
dog,
heavy, they're
tall, dog.
crying, right?
Saw,
And
dog,
then
tall,
the
dog.
other three letters are going to come from
Haw,
the letter that's at the
haw,
very back of the tongue, which is cough,
cough.
and then the two letters that are at the very top
Haw
of
and
the throat,
haw.
which is rain and haw.
Good.
And if you think about it, the position of those letters on the tongue and
Are right
in the
there.
throat
It's right
is really
there.
what's making it's what's causing their heaviness.
It's
Okay?
right there.
And so that's
Cough,
why
haw,
those are
and haw,
included,
and
right?
tall,
It's
dog.
because
Got
just their
that.
mere position creates heaviness, right? The mere position of the letter off of the tongue and in the throat is going to create heaviness.
And
All right, very good. And then all the other letters are light. All the other letters are light. The other thing is hems. So somebody explain hems. What is hems?
Whispering letters have a whisper like sheen and seen.
Especially when they have what mark on it?
It has a I can't remember. I know it has succoon.
It has a succoon. So when these letters have a succoon, you're going to hear a whisper of air from them, right? So you're going to hear is, ish,
yes,
if, right? All those letters, you should hear that air, right? You should hear that air. Excellent. All right. In Hamsan Jahar, Isti'ala, Istifal. The other Rochawa letters, I'm not going to do that one.
Good.
All right.
But I need to know them.
What about the rules of lamb? What do the rules of lamb apply to? What are the rules? What is the rule for lamb? What's the rule for lamb? Who knows? What's the rule?
So it's heavy on Allah's name, the Lamb of Jalala.
Right?
And every,
so the lamb goes in between lightness and heaviness when articulating the name of Allah. Right?
yes.
That's where the rule comes into play. Is when we articulate the name of Allah, the lamb with the shadda is going to go in between light and heavy. All right, very good. When is it heavy?
It's heavy in every instance except when there's a kasra on the letter before. I don't know how to say it.
That's one way of saying it, right? It's going to be heavy when it's a fatha or dhamma before it.
Okay.
Right? When it's a fatha or dhamma before it, it's going to be heavy.
Okay.
Right? And it is going to be light when it has what before it?
A kasra.
A kasra, right? Very good. And it is also going to, the lamb is going to be light in every other word, right?
Yes,
So it only goes in between light and heavy in the name of Allah. In every other word
It's
in the
light.
Arabic alphabet, the lamb is
Start
light,
quick.
right? The lamb is light. Very good. All right, there is another letter that goes in between light and heavy. What letter is that?
Raw.
You said that with such emphatic movement. She's like, raw. It definitely goes in between light and heavy. All right? Give me the base of the rule. Give me the base of the rule. The raw is heavy when?
It's heavy when there's a letter after it has
No letters after. The raw is heavy. What's the very base of the rule?
Oh, it's the base of the rule. Let me think.
Got the very basic.
It's a heavy when it's a hamza wasl is before.
Those are all exceptions.
Oh.
The very basic rule says.
When it has when raw has a kesra, it's light. When it has a fatha, then it's usually or fatha or dhamma, then it's heavy.
There you go. So when raw has fatha or dhamma, it is heavy, right? So the very base of the rule is to say that if the raw has a fatha or a dhamma on it, it is heavy. When Ra has a Kesra on it, it is light.
Light.
That's the base rule, right? There's no if and buts about it. If Ra has a Feta or Doma, the Ra is heavy. Ra rule. Doesn't matter what's behind, doesn't matter what's after. There are no exceptions to that. When Ra has a Feta or Doma, it is heavy. When Ra has a Kesra, it is light. Khalas, yani, right? Nothing else. Nothing else matters. Then we go into when the Ra has a Sukoon, and before it is Feta or Doma, the Ra is what? If Ra has a Sukoon, and before it is Feta or Doma, the Ra is what?
Heavy.
It's heavy.
Heavy. If Ra has a Sukoon, and before it is Kesra, the Ra is what?
Light.
Light, right? That's the basics of the rule, right? Those are the absolute basics. You follow that and you're going to be right almost all of the time, period, right? Then we gave 3 exceptions to these rules. We gave 3 exceptions to these rules, and the exceptions are all applicable only when the Ra has a Sukoon. If the Ra has an actual vowel, there really aren't any exceptions, right? These are only applying when the Ra has a Sukoon, right? When the Ra has a Sukoon. What are those 3 exceptions? Who can give me any of the exceptions? Ra has a Sukoon and what?
When the Hamza to Watsu come before it.
When there is a Hamza to Wasl before it, right? So if Ra has a Sukoon and before it is Hamza to Wasl, the Ra is going to be?
Going to be heavy.
Heavy, right? The Ra is going to be heavy. Doesn't matter if I have to put a Kesra before it and say Ir-G, right? If I say the word Ir-G, I had to put a Kesra on the Hamza to Wasl. It doesn't matter. The Ra is still going to be heavy. Ir-G, right? Very good. What's another exception? Ra has a Sukoon and
Now, Ra has a Sukoon and there's a Ya in the front of it.
Just a Ya or a Ya with something on it?
A Ya with a Sukoon.
Very good. So Ra has a Sukoon because of a temporary stop, and right before that is Ya with Sukoon. Then the Ra is?
I'm guessing. So I don't really know.
Is it light or heavy? Anybody? I'm proud.
I just
Ra
remember.
has a Sukoon.
I think it's light.
It is light, right? The Ya is going to force it light. The Ya, despite, it doesn't matter if there was a Fatha before the Ya. That Ya with Sukoon is going to force the Ra to stay light. It's going to force it to be light. All right? Very good. One more exception to the Ra rules. When Ra has a Sukoon and one more.
Yeah, I don't know what you do, but I know if Ra has a Sukoon and there's a heavy letter following it.
There you go. Ra has a Sukoon and after it is a heavy letter. What do you think? Do you think it's heavy or light?
I think it's going to be heavy.
That's right. It is going to be heavy. The heavy letter is forcing it to be heavy. Okay? Ra has a Sukoon, and after it is a heavy letter, the Ra is heavy. Very good. Those are only 3 exceptions. Everything else?
So the Hamza Wasl
Still the
is
same,
heavy.
right? Everything else still the same. All right.
Heavy, light,
great.
and heavy.
Meme sacking rules. Who can tell me what our 3 meme sacking rules are? I can give you a PowerPoint.
You said meme or noon?
She said means jackets. It's going to be the Shafawi, Iktagam Shafawi, Ikfar, and Ikhar.
Very good. Idgham al-Shafawi, Ikhfa al-Shafawi, and Ilhar al-Shafawi. The meme sacking rules are really easy, right? Because the first 2 rules only have 1 letter in each of them. right? So idgham as shafawi. Who can explain it to me? When do we have idgham as shafawi? When we have meme with sukoon followed by
meme.
Followed by another meme. What do we do?
You're gonna blend it.
You're gonna blend it by doing what?
Blending the second meme into the first one.
And how do we do that?
You put a shadda on the second meme.
There you go.
Okay.
So we're gonna blend the first meme into the second one by placing a shadda on the second meme. Therefore, the first meme is if it doesn't even exist anymore, right? We're gonna go straight to the second meme with shadda, therefore giving our gunna hold, because meme with shadda has a gunna hold, right? Right? We have a gunna hold every single time we have a meme with shadda. Excellent.
Right.
What about ikhfa and shafawi?
Meme followed by ba.
Meme with sukoon followed by ba. What do we do for ikhfa and shafawi?
You conceal it.
Conceal it how?
You're gonna go into the makhraj of ba and hold it for 2 counts.
In theory, the makhraj of meme and ba are exactly the same. Remember, the makhraj of meme and ba are exactly the same. So it doesn't really matter if you say the makhraj of meme or the makhraj of ba. They're actually going to be at the same spot, right? And you're going to rest there for 2 counts of gunna, and then you're going to say the ba, right? B. Right? You're going to hold at the makhraj of the meme, and then you're going to say the ba. B, right? Concealing the meme, actually, right, is what you're concealing, right? Concealing the meme. All right, very good. And then what's the last rule for meme second rules?
I'm sorry. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's a harder.
What does izhar mean?
It's going to have it occurs when a meme with a sukoon is followed by any of the other letters other than a ba.
And what do we do? What does izhar mean? What does that word mean?
We'll say it clearly. You say
it's
everything
clarity,
clear.
right? It's to say that you're going to read it and pronounce it clearly. You're not going to do anything special. So that means this rule, you should hear the meme with sukoon. For the most part, you're going to hear the meme with sukoon, right? Only if it's followed by meme or ba are you going to not hear the meme with sukoon. All right, very good. What about our noon second rules? Noon second rules. What are they? There are 4 of them.
4?
Just the names. Who knows the names of them? We just did 3 of the names are in the meme second rules, right?
So the last one is iqlab.
There's iqlab, that's one of them. What else? And iqlab means to change.
Yep, and izhar.
Izhar, it means clarity, right? What else?
Yes. Idgham means to blend.
Idgham means to blend, and
ikhfa is to conceal.
Ikhfa is concealed. So these are all second rules, right? Idgham, iqlab, ikhfa, and iqlab. These are our noon second rules. So we just don't add the shafawi behind these, right? As shafawi behind it means it's applying to the lips, to the meme second. When we don't put anything, we understand it to be noon second rules. All right, very good. So we had 3 of these rules already inside of our meme second rules, right? So we understand them a little bit already, right? Knowing that we're going to blend and we're going to conceal and we're going to have clarity, right? The last rule that is new is iqlab, which means to change, but it's okay because it's going to change into a meme second rule, right? So this should all be somewhat familiar. All right? Izhar. Who can explain to me what the rule is for noon sakin for izhar?
Let me take it. Noon sakin or tanween, followed by any of the 6 throat letters, you will
Perfect.
hear it clearly.
Yes, you are going to pronounce the noon sakin sound clearly. This is the only time you are going to hear the noon sakin sound pronounced clearly. So once again, as you're reading, if you get to a point and you're trying to figure out what to do, if that noon sakin or tanween is not followed by one of the letters of the throat, what you know absolutely without fail is you're not going to hear that noon, right? You're going to be dealing with the letter that comes after that noon, okay? Once again, if it is not one of the 6 letters of the throat that comes after the noon sakin or tanween, you're not going to hear it clearly, right? This clarity is only for those 6 letters. Everything else requires you to do something else. It requires you to do something special, okay? All right, very good. What about idgham? Idgham. Who can explain that one to
Go
me?
ahead. That's the key. She got it.
It's the blend with Guna. It's the the meme, noon, wow, and yeah, are blended with the Guna in their pronunciation.
Very good. So if the Glam says, if I have a noon with Sukun or Tanween followed by what letters? What do we call these letters?
Yarmalun letters.
The Yarmalun letters. And literally the word Yarmalun is spelling out the letters for you. Ya, Yar, that's a Ra. Ma is the Meme. Lu is the Lam. Lu, long vowel, gives us a wow. And then the Loon gives us noon sakin, right? Ya, Ra,
Right.
Meme, Lam, wow, noon. Yar, Ma, noon, right? So that anytime we have one of those 6 letters coming after the noon sakin or tanween, we're going to blend the noon sakin sound into the idgham sound by adding what to the yard malun letter?
Can it be a? Is it a?
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. What are we adding? What do we add to
a shadda? Is it a
shadda?
Is it
a shadda? There you go. Same thing we added when we had meme with sukun followed by meme. Same thing as idgham and shafa. You are blending by way of shadda. That's how you're blending. So we're not going to hear the noon sakin or tanween sound. We're going to go straight to the letter with shadda. 2 of the letters are going to give a shadda without gunna. And then 4 of the letters are going to give the shadda with gunna. What are the 2 letters that are going to be without gunna?
Lam and Ra.
Lam and Ra. Excellent. And the other 4 letters are going to be with gunna, right? The other 4 letters are going to be with gunna. All right? What's our next rule?
Iqlab.
What's our one rule that only has 1 letter in it?
Iqlab.
Iqlab, which means change. Who can explain Iqlab for me?
You have a noon sakin or tanween followed by a ba. Then you change that the noon sakin or the noon sound into a meme.
Very good. Into a meme with sukun, right? Into a meme with sukun. And then what do?
And then you hold that meme for 2 counts, and then you come out with the ba. I'm saying that
Very
right.
Good. Yes, that's right. Same thing we did on Ikhfa al-Shafawi is that we go to the exit, right? We're resting at the meme and we're letting the air flow through our nasal cavity, and then when we articulate it, we're delivering back, right?
Yes.
Once again, Nun Sakin Tanween is going to change to a meme sakin sound, and then we're going to hold that meme sakin sound, concealing its exit in order to say our back. Very good. That is one of those examples. Thou jim baki.
The meme with the sukoon is concealed by holding.
Thou jim back. All right, very good. What's our last rule? Tanween. Nun Sakin Tanween rule.
It's idhar. So that's idhar. I think idhar was the last one. We didn't do that one.
We did idhar. Idhar means clarity. That's the first one we did.
Idhar.
6 letters of the throat.
The last one's Ikhfa, I think. We didn't say that one.
It is. The last one is ikhfa. Ikhfa is concealment. And how do we articulate ikhfa? What are the letters that it includes?
It includes every other letter that we haven't done. About 15.
Every other letter that we haven't discussed, right? That's all
Right.
We're not going to go through and rattle them off, right? Very good.
We're not doing
So what do we do? How do we articulate ikhfa? What do we do with our mouth?
We conceal that letter.
The noon with the coon or the tanween is concealed by going to the maqrib or the exit point of the letter, of the Ikhfa letter.
So we're going to the exit of the ikhfa letter, not to the noon, right?
Right.
We're going to the exit of the ikhfa letter and not to the noon.
Right.
6 of these letters we can touch the makhrij. The rest of them we don't touch the exit. What are the 6 letters that we actually do touch the exit from?
Kaf, Qaf, Fa, Tall.
Not tall.
Not tall.
Come down. Come down on your exit.
Fa.
What letter?
Fa.
TH?
No, fa. Feed.
Yeah, she
like
gave that
fish.
one. She said fa, Qaf, and Kaf. She gave those
So-
3. There are 3 more.
Is it Dal?
Fa.
Nope, not
That.
down. You're on the wrong. Your tip
On
of
the
the
wrong
tongue is
place.
up on the upper palate. That's not
That.
where you want to be.
That.
There you go.
That.
That,
That.
that, and zal. The
Okay.
tip of the tongue to the bottom of the 2 front teeth.
Ah.
That, zal. You add a dot to all those, you'd had it right, right?
Good. Mm-hmm.
That, zal. All 6 of those are the ones that you're going to touch. The rest of them, you will not touch them, right? You will not touch them. All right, good job.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me change my screen over to All right, we went over stops. And stopping symbols, right? Stops and stopping symbols. We talked about that there are 3 different types of stops, right? 3 different types of stops. There's the informative or test stops. That's when I'm judging your reading, right? Unfairly judging your reading, right? And then we have our forced or unplanned stops, meaning that you run out of breath, you sneeze, all kinds of things that happen that you really were not intending on stopping. You just couldn't go on any longer. And then we have our optional stops, ikhtiyari, right? That means these are when we're intentionally stopping. And this is when we have to apply our stopping rules. We have to apply our stopping rules. Who can tell me, like, if I have a tab 1 stop, if I have a complete stop, what do I know about the grammar and the meaning of what I'm reading? If I have a complete stop, what do I know about the grammar and the meaning?
So the meaning and the grammar are complete.
Very good. If it is a complete stop, the meaning and the grammar are complete, right? What comes after is nowhere connected to meaning or grammar. It is literally a complete stop, right? Do I have to repeat if I make a complete stop?
No.
No, right? If I'm stopping at something that is a complete stop, both the grammar and meaning are not connected, it is complete and there's no need to go back and repeat anything. Very good. What do I know about the grammar and meaning of a sufficient stop? Path one. What do I know about the grammar of a sufficient stop?
Yeah. Complete.
I know you have to. That's a stop where the meaning is complete. Ah, you sure?
You did. You said it. The meaning is complete, right? And the grammar is also complete.
Yeah,
Right?
everything is complete.
So the meaning and grammar is complete, but here's the difference. Before, there was no relationship. In the complete stop, in the tab one, there's no even relationship in meaning, right? None whatsoever. But in the tab one stop, the grammar is complete and the meaning is complete, but the word is related to what follows it in meaning. It's related. There's some type of relationship to what comes after in what you just read, right? If you stop here, do you have to repeat anything?
Well, this says no.
No.
It says
Remember,
no.
when the grammar and the meaning are complete, you don't have to repeat anything.
It says sufficient.
Yeah.
Here you go.
When grammar and meaning are complete, you don't have to repeat anything.
But the rest you have to repeat.
Right? Just keep that in mind. Both the first two types of stops, both tab one and calf one stops, they're complete in meaning and grammar. One of them has no connection in meaning. It is a really complete stop.
That's time.
The other, there is something related. What follows it is related in meaning to what you just read. And it's related, but it still doesn't require you to go back and repeat anything because where you stopped, the meaning was complete and the grammar was complete. All right? We know that the meaning is complete, but what follows is sometimes tied in meaning is related in meaning, and it is also grammar, right? It's not complete. So that means we're related in grammar and meaning in a Hassan stop. If I stop at a Hassan stop, do I have to go back and repeat?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Because the grammar is related and the meaning is related to some degree. Although where I stop is a complete meaning, right? The sentence structure, I may have stopped at the end of the grammatical, at the end of the prepositional phrase. That's fine. But, right, it still is connected in meaning and grammar, right? And then our last stop are B stops. These are unacceptable stops. And this is where when we stop, we change meaning, right? Or we give missing information, right? We don't want to stop at these spots. All right, stopping symbols. Let me change my screen again here.
I'm glad I need to watch this whole tape. But what's on here is not the breaths. No. On here is not the med. So I gotta go over the meds.
All right, what does gene stop here? What does the gene stop mean? So gene, what does that mean?
Stop or continue.
Stop or continue. Stop or continue doesn't matter, right? Either whichever one you want to do, you can do it. Stop or continue. All right. What about this little cough here? And lamb. What about that one? What does that one mean?
That one's better to stop right there.
Better to stop, but you
can still
continue, right?
Yeah, you can
But once
continue.
again, we're gonna use it, right? I've never seen reciters really blow past those. They always stop, so we're gonna use them. Better to stop, but you can continue.
You know,
Right.
Very good.
on the sod, it's better to continue. So that's what I've been working with.
All right. What about this sod stop here? Sod lamb. What about that one?
It's a
Better to
continuation.
Better to continue,
Continue.
right? But it's okay if you stop,
Mm-hmm.
right?
So that.
Better to continue, but it's okay if you stop, right?
Mhm.
So those three all fell into that yellow category, right?
Mhm.
Fell into the category of caution, right?
Caution.
Stop, continue is actually kind of either or. Some of them, the gene, it doesn't matter either or. But the sod is better to stop, but you can continue,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it's better to
Better to
continue,
continue.
but you can stop, right? The fall off is better to stop, but you can continue. So those three all have the option in them. All three of those have the option in them. Oh.
Another solar, gene, solar,
All right.
lab.
What about here? What about this little last symbol here? What is that one telling us?
Don't stop.
Don't stop here, right? Do not stop here.
Prohibited.
Don't do it. Keep going.
Yes.
That one's a big green light.
Mm-hmm. I get confused with them lights.
All right. Let's see here. All right. What about this meme symbol? What is that one telling us?
Stop. Is that a stop?
That one is, think of that meme as a must stop.
Must
right?
stop.
Must
You
stop.
must stop here.
Must
Don't
stop.
keep reading. Must stop. Don't keep reading.
Must stop.
Okay.
بهذا مثلي يدل به. Must stop mean. I remember that. And
All right. What
I don't
about
know the
our
name of it.
set of three dots here? Our set of three dots. What are they telling us?
You can stop at one or the other, but not at both.
Not you can, but you
You must stop at one.
right? So this falls into the same category as the mean. You actually must stop
Must
at one or
stop.
the other, but not both,
mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
So you have to stop
I
at
get
one
what
of
that's
these.
called.
You cannot go through and read without stopping at one or the
Mhm.
other. All right? Very good. We're doing great on time here. Now I'm not sure how much you guys like. Yeah, we're going fast, but this is a review though. This is a review. Last thing are going to be our idgham rules, right? Or sifat. That was the last thing that we did. Our idgham for sifat rules. Let me change my screen again.
I can just study this one thing, but we still didn't do.
I think this is it.
We didn't do.
All right. So we had 3 rules in the Gone for Sifat. We had 3 rules. Who remembers? Do you guys remember the names of the rules at
I
all?
sure do.
Or even if you can't remember the name, if you can remember the reasoning behind the category, what was causing things to be related? I don't know if that makes sense. Who remembers any of the names?
One of my notes had of like nature, but I was,
There
you
you
know,
go.
I missed
Very
that.
That was
good.
mutajanis of like nature.
Yeah, one was like night.
So
Yeah.
remember, it's always going to be related to the exit and the
exit.
characteristic, right? So think exit and characteristic. If I have a letter that the exit is the same and the characteristic is the same, what happens? If I have a letter with sukoon and the exit is the same and the characteristic is the same, what do I know about that letter? So if I have a letter and the exits is exactly the same and the characteristics are exactly the same, that means it's the same letter.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's mutamathil or simil.
Yeah, there you go. That's mutamathil, right? Mutamathil. Because remember, the letters differentiate because of the sifat, because of the characteristics.
Okay.
If a letter has the exact same characteristics and the exact same exit point, it has no choice but to be the same letter.
Same letter.
Right? And mutamathil is the one that deals when you have two letters that they are exactly the same in their characteristics and exit, which means I have two letters that are the same. The first letter has a sukoon and the second letter has a vowel. When that happens, I am going to blend, right, the first letter into the second by way of what? Shadda. Idgham, the sign of idgham is the shadda, right? The sign of idgham is shadda. Okay, so if I have two letters that are exactly the same, the first one has a sukoon and the second one has a vowel, I'm going to blend the first one into the second one by way of shadda. So our very first example here, right? We're blending the lam of the first one into the second one by putting a shadda on the second one. So it's as if the first one doesn't exist anymore. Yaja'allahu. I'm just treating it as lam with shadda. This is just like idgham and shafawi, and it is just like idgham for noon sakin, meme sakin rules. Right? It's the exact same process. The only thing is these won't have gunna unless we're dealing with meme or noon. Right? If we're dealing with meme or noon, they'll get gunna and they fall into the meme and noon sakin rules at that point as well. But if they're not meme or noon, there's no gunna in this, it's just blending. It is just blending. Right? Here's one for dal, right? So we have waqad and then we have dakhalu. Waqad, dakhalu. So if the shadda has been placed there for you, right? You're going to find in all of the mushaf for the printers that they're going to put the shadda on the second one trying to give you a hint. And they're not going to put a sukoon on the first one trying to give you a hint. They won't write the sukoon. We know that it has sukoon because there's nothing on it, but they won't write the sukoon trying to give you a hint to let you know, don't say this down, go straight to the one with shadda. وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا وَقَدْ دَخَلُوا. All right. When we have two letters that they have the same exit point but different characteristics, we're going to fall into our next rule, which is mutajanis, right? Excellent. Mutajanis says that because it's the same exit point but different characteristics, it's close to it. It's like right, bijanib means it's right next to it. It's really similar, except those characteristics are different, right? This is where we're going to get the most of the difference, right? This is going to give us the most difference. The first one, even if I didn't tell you the rule, you probably would still have articulated it like that. That's because of the shadda. You saw the shadda, you just skipped the first one. Some of us would have figured out a way to say it. we might make something up, right? Well, for the most part, you get it. But this is one where we now are in categories. So our meme and our ba both exit from the same spot, right? But different characteristics. Our ta, dal, and ka all exit from the same tip of the tongue up there to the upper palate. And then the other, tha, thou, and la, from the tip of the tongue to the bottom of the two front teeth. All right? All of these are going to fall into this particular rule. The ba into meme, because we already have a rule for meme into ba, right? That's ikhfa as shafawi, right? We already have a rule for meme into ba. So this one is really going to apply when we have ba into meme. Ba into meme. If I have a ba with sukoon followed by a meme, I'm going to blend the ba into the meme by placing a shadda on the meme, right? placing a shadda on the meme. And remember, every single time we have meme with shadda or noon with shadda, it's going to have gunna. So it doesn't really matter what happened to cause the meme or noon shadda, we're always going to deliver the gunna. So if I were to read this, I'm going to say, ir ma'ana. No bad whatsoever. I'm going straight to the meme. Ir ma'ana. And you notice the raw here is heavy. Why? Because there was Hamza Tawassul right before it. It doesn't matter that I'm going to put a kasra on the Hamza Tawassul. It is still going to be heavy. Ir ma'ana. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And then here are some examples of just other connections, right? The others here at the bottom, we see that all of them, the second letter has the shadda. So a dal into law, the law has shadda. And then at the very bottom, the dal into ta, the ta has shadda. At the top, however, we have a ta into ta. And because the ta is heavier than the ta, we actually won't lose the ta completely, which is why the ta does not have a shadda. Although we're going to read it like shadda, we actually will go into the ta for the first part of the shadda, and the second part of the shadda, we're going to come out with the ta. So instead of saying basat ta and just giving shadda ta, basat ta, that's what we would have normally done for this particular rule. Basat ta, just gave ta shadda. But we can't lose the ta completely. So we're going to hear basal ta. Right? The first part of the shadda is actually a ta. Basal. Right? You actually can hear the heaviness going in. But then when I release the second part of the shadda, it is ta. Basal ta. All right? Let me hear each of you all say that for me. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Get out the way. Bass up, ta.
That was pretty good. Feel the back of the tongue elevate a little bit better. Bass out.
Bass up, ta.
Get your tongue up. Try to touch the cough in the back when you hit it. Bass out. Ta.
Bass up, ta.
That was better. Do it again. Keep your scene nice and light. Bass out. Bass out. Bass out. Ta.
Bass up, ta.
That was a good one. Very good. All right. Who else? Who wants to go next?
I'll do it. Basal ta.
That's pretty good. Good job. Good job. All right, Nicole, are you able to say anything?
Yeah.
All right.
That's out.
Excellent. Very good. All right. Well, you guys got that down. All right. And once again, it happens far into ta. That's not the only place that it happens. Like you'll see that combination far into ta a few different places in the Quran. It doesn't happen a whole lot. And it might throw you off a bit when you see it. You'll have to remember, right, what to do. But if you ever see it, what should come to your mind first are the idgham for sifat rules, right? And then our very last rule deals when we have
Close proximity.
close in exit or characteristics, right? Not really the same. It's just close in its exit and
And
characteristics.
that's lamb and
right?
raw.
Close in its exit
Lamb and raw.
or characteristics.
That's lamb and raw.
And this is idgham mutaqarrib.
Yeah.
Something that is qareeb
Lamb and
means
raw.
it's near to it. Not really next, right next. It's near,
it's lamb
right? It's
and
in its
raw.
proximity.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to this is going to occur for lamb and raw,
Yeah.
as well as qaf and kaf.
Okay.
Not the meme and bam. Sorry, that should not have been on there. I apologize. Not updating my slides. But lamb and raw, and then the qaf and kaf, right? And remember, qaf and kaf
Nahlukum.
are at the back of the tongue, but the qaf and the kaf are not exactly at the same spot. You
Nah.
actually move
Nah.
forward just a bit on the upper palate, and with the
Nah.
back of the tongue when you give the
Mm.
calf versus the qaf, right? And
Yurkam.
then the lamb and the ra,
Yurkam.
they're really
Ana.
not at the same. They both use the tongue. They don't really are. They're not really at the same exit, but they are really close. And the manner in which you articulate them is the same, meaning that the tempo of how you move into the lamb and the ra are extremely similar. The better you all get at articulating the lamb and the ra, you're gonna feel how similar they are when you move into them. So when I say ow and I flap into my ra, it is the same as when I flap into lamb. Al. Right? Your tongue literally moves just like this when you flap into both of them. And so this is why these two fall into the category of idgham mutaqarrib, right? All right, khalas. All right, that's it, my dears.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything that we've done so far.
And I gotta do.
We ran through that.
All right, we only have 2 more rules. No, 3 more rules that I'm going to do. And literally, we can do them all next week. What we have left of rules are very small. I'm probably going to do our rules for Hamza Tawassul next week. And I may squeeze in the other little rules as well next week, but I may not, and I may just say those for the next week. But inshallah, I'm going to post a midterm. I'm calling it midterm. We're not really at midterm. We're past midterm. But I'm going to post something where you can just kind of test all of your information up until this point, right? All of your information up until this point. And really, it's just for you to test and see how much of it you're retaining, and then how much of it you can recall, right? How much of, I'm sorry, it's gotten dark in here, and I don't have my light on. I did not realize I didn't have any light on. Let's see. Yeah. There I am. So inshallah, it's just to test you, right? See how much of it you can recall. This is still about application, right? It's still about application. So inshallah, we will have chances to read. What week are we? Is this our 9th week?
We don't know.
This is our 8th week. I have to look. We started a little bit later.
We did.
Okay. This might be our 9th week. 10. All right, great. That gives us 2 weeks, though. This is our 9th week. Yeah, I think that's right. So inshallah, I'm going to try to finish the rules next week, and then that'll give us time where we'll read, and we'll constantly review things as you all are reading. But that will complete the rules portion, and then we'll spend some time reading for those last couple of weeks. Still reviewing the rules as we read, though. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, or concerns?
Are you gonna post this session?
Yes. I don't think I have last session or this one, but I'll post